Hello everyone, my name is CM Furries, and the 2025-2026 NFL season is officially underway, and if you're a huge Atlanta Falcons fan like me, you are probably expecting disappointment. Well, actually, I don't know, because a lot of Atlanta Falcons fans that I see, like, on social media, actually have pretty high expectations of the Atlanta Falcons, and I hate it. I like to call myself the most pessimistic Atlanta Falcons fan. But when you have been an NFL team for almost 60 years now and haven't won the Super Bowl a single time, you're going to be pretty pessimistic. When you have the biggest choke in sports history, not even NFL history, what people say is the biggest choke in sports history, the two chokes I see are the Atlanta Falcons blowing the 28-3 lead and the Warriors blowing the 3-1 lead against the Clippers when the Warriors had the 73-9 team. It was something insane like that. Those are the two biggest sports blown leads that I've seen, and the Atlanta Falcons are on the wrong end of the other one. The Golden State Warriors at least have four rings to make up for that. We got none. So the Atlanta Falcons, kind of a cursed franchise, and every single year I see so many Atlanta Falcons fans just so optimistic for the team, but not me. I'm not optimistic, but you know what? Maybe I'm in the wrong here. That's the point of this video. This video is how good will the Atlanta Falcons be in the 2025-2026 NFL season. We're going to be taking a deep dive into the team and seeing how they're going to do. Now, this video is basically two parts. The first part is we're going to go over the roster, how good the team is. And the second part is going to be the schedule, because, many times we see an average team make it to the playoffs because they have an easy schedule. And there are other times that there are really good teams that just have an absolutely brutal schedule. So they have more losses on their record than how good the team actually is. So the schedule actually plays a big part into it as well. So we're first going to go over the roster, then we're going to go over the schedule and see if we can make a prediction on how the Atlanta Falcons are going to do. Now, first thing we got to do is go over the roster. And this is just on paper, all right? Completely on paper. Who knows what's actually going to happen, right? There's so many X factors that can happen. Injuries are a big one, or player development / regression are a big one. But solely on paper, our offense actually got worse than it did last year, believe it or not. Just strictly on paper. How did it get worse, you might ask? Well, let's take a look at our offensive line here. We have our left tackle, Jake Matthew, our left guard, Matthew Bergeron, and our right guard, Chris Lindstrom, all returning. Chris Lindstrom is one of the best right guards in the league. Matthew Bergeron is now entering his third season, I believe, as an Atlanta Falcon, and he's looked pretty good in his first two seasons. And like I said, Jake Matthews has been a staple at left tackle for us for forever now, it seems like. He's phenomenal. So we do have three really good offensive linemen. However, we lost our starting center Drew Dahlman to the Chicago Bears, and his backup Ryan Nuzell don't know how to pronounce it, but Ryan is taking his place. No matter how you spin it, Ryan was Drew Dahlman's backup last year. He would have not been the backup if he was better than Drew Dahlman. This is a downgrade. Now, maybe Ryan is able to take a massive step up. Who knows? But I believe he's already 28. He's in between 26 and 28. But regardless, the fact that he's been a backup his entire career and he's 26 to 28, and now he's finally getting starts, a little concerning. He could be good, but it is a downgrade. And then we've already experienced big injuries here in Atlanta. Our starting right tackle, Caleb McGarry, suffered I believe an ACL sprain or an ACL tear and has to get surgery on his knee and is out for the entire season. So no more Caleb McGarry, our starting right tackle, he's gone. To make matters worse, his backup, literally within 2 days of each other, I don't know who got hurt, but in 2 days of one another, Caleb McGarry had a season-ending injury, and our backup right tackle, Storm whatever. His name's Storm. He had a 6 to 8 week injury as well. So our starting right tackle and our backup right tackle is not even going to be available until about week 8. So we're on to the third stringers. Now, Elijah Wilkinson, I believe, was our backup left guard, and he moved to right tackle. So we have someone who's not even familiar or we have someone who wasn't even a right tackle who slid over to the right tackle position. So we'll see how this goes. But regardless, compared to last year, we have lost 2 offensive linemen and had to replace them with backups. Our backup center and our backup left guard playing right tackle. Who knows? Maybe it could work out, but on paper, it's worse. You went into the season with Caleb McGarry as your starter and Storm as your backup. This is the 3rd string right tackle for all in purposes. Now, if you look at the skill positions, it's, I think, exactly the same. Our starting wide receiver, Drake London, excellent number 1 wide receiver. He's really coming into his own. Darnell Mooney was a really good 2 for us last year. Even Ray McLeod made some excellent plays last year as our wide receiver 3. Kadale Hodges coming back as our wide receiver 4 and a special team specialist. He's really good. We did bring in Jamal Agnew. He is more so for kick returns and punt returns. He's a really good kick returner and punt returner, so I guess in special teams we got better if you want to look at it that way. Who knows how much of an effect he's actually going to have on our offense. And then we still have Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, which might be the best 1-2 running back combo in the NFL. Definitely top 5. I'd have to think about it. That's not me saying Bijan is the best, but as a combination between Bijan and Tyler Algier, it's definitely up there. I guess Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery as a 1-2 punch is probably better. So Bijan and Tyler Algier, top 3. Now, the big one. Michael Penix Jr. starting at quarterback. I think this is where a lot of Atlanta Falcons fans disagree. Like I said on social media, when I see a lot of Falcons fans saying we're going to be really good this year, it's because we have Michael Penix Jr. starting for us instead of Kirk Cousins. And Michael Penix Jr. is going to take us to the promised land. I definitely have an opinion on this. I don't think Michael Penix Jr. is going to be bad by any means. But who's to say Michael Penix Jr. is going to be good? Michael Penix Jr. has some real flaws in his game that I just don't know if they're going to be fixed at this point in his career. Let's start off with the positives. Michael Penix Jr. has a rocket arm, absolute cannon arm. Last year, Michael Penix Jr. started in 3 games, and he made some incredible throws with that rocket cannon arm of him. Him and Drake London had a phenomenal connection because Drake London has amazing hands, and Michael Penix Jr. can just throw piss missiles right to where only Drake London can catch it, and that's going to be a phenomenal connection, I believe. However, Michael Penix Jr., because of his amazing arm, also just sails balls as well at times, and he missed a couple of wide open guys in the games that he played. Michael Penix Jr. does great when he has a clean pocket, but he has shown on numerous occasions that when pressure gets in his face, like I said, and he doesn't have time to set his feet, that's when he overthrows guys. I noticed it a lot in Washington. It was one of my biggest rips on Michael Penix Jr., especially in that national championship game against Michigan. Michael Penix Jr. was phenomenal all year. Because the Washington Huskies had one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. He had good wide receivers, and he's able to rip and make amazing throws. That's not a knock on Michael Penix Jr. that he has a good team around him. However, when he played Michigan and pressure got in his face, he made bad throws. He overthrew guys. And I don't think that I think Michael Penix Jr. is actually good at making reads. That's something I'll give him. A lot of his interceptions or bad passes aren't because he's throwing it where he's not supposed to. It's because he just sails it over the guy's head. He just literally sails it over his head. That's where a lot of his incompletions and interceptions come from, or him just sailing it over the guy's head or putting way too much power on it. He just needs to learn finesse. I'm worried about this because Michael Penix Jr. was a starter in college for 6 seasons and was started in 3 games last year for us, and still were making these same mistakes. I understand he only played in 3 games. Nerves can definitely be a thing, right? But the fact of the matter is that we're still seeing the same mistakes for Michael Penix Jr. after getting 7 years of full experience. I understand that he was hurt for four of those years, which is another thing, right? He has injury concern. He's been hurt 4 straight years. I understand he hasn't been hurt for the last 3, but still, it's just maybe he was the most unlucky guy in the world, right? For those 4 years, and now those injury concerns are behind him. But who knows? And I'm bringing this up because we of our offensive line issues. Yes, we have 3 really good offensive linemen. That doesn't matter. If our right tackle Elijah Wilkinson sucks ass and we're constantly getting pressure off the edge, we're just screwed. Teams are going to put their best edge rusher on Elijah Wilkinson and just go to town. Also, like I said, our starting backup center that we have too. Our offensive line is weak this year. We had a better offensive line on paper last year. And like I said, Jake Matthews, someone who's been phenomenal for us, he's getting up there in age, man. I know he's in his 30s. I want to say he's like 32, 33, maybe even 34. He's getting up there in age. So this offensive line does concern me a little bit. And like I said, Michael Penix Jr.'s biggest issue is when he gets pressure in his face, he oversails balls. He's not phenomenal with his legs, too. He's young. He's young, so he's good with his legs, but that's it. He's not good with his legs. He's young, so he just has that young speed, you know? He's not Kirk Cousins or Matt Ryan, where Kirk Cousins and Matt Ryan literally couldn't move a damn inch. Michael Penix Jr. is an upgrade from them, but I would say Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, all these guys are much, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, all these guys are much better with their legs and scrambling than Michael Penix Jr. is. So Michael Penix Jr. needs to develop more, but like I said, my issue is how much more can he develop? He was in college for 6 years, and he had 1 year in the NFL under his belt. He's 25, man. He's already 25 years old. But we'll see, right? But like I said, offensively, we have a worse offensive line, and we don't know about Michael Penix Jr. yet. We really don't. Now, the defensive side of the ball is where things get really interesting because we did a very, very massive overhaul on our defense. If you look at our starting 11, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starters. We only have 6 starters returning. That literally means that half of our defense is completely brand new starters. Like I said, half the defense is new. Complete overhaul of this defense. In the 2025 NFL Draft, we went and spent a first-round pick on Jalen Walker from Georgia. Then another first-round pick, we traded back up for James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. Then, in the 3rd round, we took Xavier Watts, safety, out of Notre Dame. Then in the 4th round, we took Billy Bowman Jr. We went all in on defense, and a lot of these, all 4 of those guys are going to get significant playing time. Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman Jr. are starters. Week 1 starters. We have 2 rookies at Week 1 starters, and Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. are definitely going to be in the rotation on the edge rusher position as well. And like I said, we have 4 rookies, man. We have 4 rookies, so who knows how this defense is going to do? Because I really, really liked Xavier Watts coming out of college from Notre Dame. He's a great ball-hawking safety. I guess I should go over the defense position by position and not just be all over the place. So we'll start with the defensive line, all right? The Atlanta Falcons have been, I believe, the worst team in getting pressure to the quarterback. I believe in the last 5 years, we are dead last in sacks in the NFL. Our pressure rate has been horrendous. Our pressure rate has been awful. And what did we do? Well, we went out and signed Leonard Floyd to a 1-year contract, who's just been a beast the last couple of years. I believe he had like 8 or 9 sacks with San Francisco last year. And like I said, we went out and spent a first-round pick on James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker. So we are going all in on the edge rusher position there. We're saying, you know what? At least one of these guys has to turn out. Hopefully 2. James Pierce Jr. is a more pure edge rusher. You know, he's more of that 4-3 kind of guy. Like, I'm going to compare these guys to the Cowboys. I think James Pierce Jr. is our DeMarcus Lawrence. James Pierce Jr. is our DeMarcus Lawrence, and Jalen Walker is our Micah Parsons. That's the roles they play. I'm not saying that's who they're going to be at all. I'm just saying that's the roles they play. DeMarcus Lawrence is a more pass rushing specialist, where Micah Parsons is able to drop back into coverage as well and do both things. Jalen Walker is able to blitz the quarterback, and he's also good at dropping back into coverage as well, where James Pierce Jr. is only specifically blitzing the quarterback. So they both have different roles. That's all I'm trying to say with that. Now, if those guys can develop, and what I love is that we also brought in Leonard Floyd as well, like I said, a veteran who is a proven veteran with stats, who's a Georgia Bulldog, He's coming in. He's coming back to his college state, and he can take the majority of the reps, and Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. get to learn behind a seasoned veteran, which I just absolutely love that. You would think that one of those two guys can pan out, even if both of them are average. They'll just be better than what we've had on the defensive line. Then Arnold Ebiketie is going into, I believe, his 4th year now. He's been okay. He's slightly improved each year, which is nice, but he's been okay. You know, he's been all right. Then on the defensive line, David Onyemata has been really solid for us. And we got a lot of young guys here to fill up the role that Grady Jarrett did. Grady Jarrett departed. He's been our best defensive player for a really long time now. He wasn't that good last year. He definitely took a step back last year, so the Falcons were fine with letting him go. Brandon Dolores was our 4th round pick last year out of Oregon, and now he is starting. He's apparently turned heads in training camps. I don't like that Rook Aurora isn't taking those steps up because, like I said, Rook was our 2nd round pick and Brandon was our 4th round pick last year. They're both in their 2nd year now, and Rook just isn't looking that good. I wouldn't be upset about it if we didn't trade up for him. So we literally gave up, I think, an extra 4th round pick for this guy, and he's just not performing as well. We'll see what happens, right? But we have so many young players. Like I said, James Pierce Jr. rookie, Rook Aurora, or Jalen Walker rookie, then Brandon Dolores and Rook, both in their 2nd year now. So if you look at this edge rushing position, it is filled with a lot of young talent. But then there's also Leonard Floyd and David Onyemata to teach these guys as well. So in the last couple of years, this is definitely the most hopeful I have been towards our pass rush. But we'll see, because there's very much a world where both of our 1st round picks suck ass. I really don't think Jalen Walker would. I have pretty strong hopes with Jalen Walker, even though he's more of a prospect, but we'll see. Then you come to our linebacking group. There's not too much to talk about. Caden Ellis was here last year. He was really good. But then Divine Diablo, we brought him in free agency, and apparently he's actually been turning a lot of heads. A lot of Falcons reporters and even coaching have said he might be our best free agent signing that we had this year. Now, to be fair, the only real big free agents we did sign was Leonard Floyd and Divine Diablo, and I guess Jamal Agnew when we get to special teams. We also do have Troy Anderson, but he's hurt. He's kind of always been battling with injuries. When he plays, he's really good, but he's kind of always hurt, which just kind of sucks. And then you get to the secondary here, man, where AJ Terrell has been a lockdown top 15 corner in the NFL. He's been really good. He's definitely not top 5, but he's definitely in that top 10, top 15 range. He's just a staple for us. Mike Hughes is okay, man. Like, I really wish we had an upgrade over Mike Hughes, but he's whatever, I guess. Clark Phillips, I really like. He was our 4th round pick a couple of years ago out of Utah, I believe. He's a really good nickel corner for us. But then, like I said, man, Billy Bowman Jr. is going to be our starting nickel corner. We'll see what happens. And then safeties. Jesse Bates is a top 5 safety in the NFL. Jesse Bates is a phenomenal safety. My only kind of issue with Jesse Bates and Xavier Watts is they're both ball-hawking safeties. We don't really have a true strong safety. I actually don't know who's the strong safety and who's the free safety. I don't know if Atlanta knows that either. Jordan Fuller is more of a traditional strong safety, so I'm guessing that means Jalen Watts is our strong safety, or Xavier Watts is our strong safety. But Xavier Watts is on the smaller side. Like I said, he's more of a ball-hawking safety. I believe he had the most interceptions in college football in the safety position. I believe he had 5. He's got great awareness, great at reading the quarterback's eyes. He's got a great feel for the game, great feel for the ball. He's not that fast, but he plays faster. You know, he's just got great game sense. Just like I said, my issues with him is his physical limitations. He's so good at the safety position because of skill, but just physically, like I said, they're going to be wide receivers that are just bigger and taller than him in the NFL, faster than him too. So we'll see what happens with Xavier Watts, man. I wish he was in more of a free safety role. Like I said, we just don't have a true hard-hitting safety. We have a lot of speed on the boundary. We have a lot of speed in the secondary, but we don't really have that lay the boom kind of guy when you think about some of the best defenses, right? You think about Cam Chancellor from the Seattle Seahawks and how good he was. You even think of Keanu Neal for the Atlanta Falcons for the 2 years we had him and the big hits he can make. You think of Jamal Adams and how good he was in his prime. We just don't really have that big-time strong safety, or really, we don't really have a big hitter too in the linebacker position as well. So Maybe tight ends could be something you worry about. There definitely are some question marks for this defense. Like I said, this defense is so young. So a lot of it depends on how the defense develops when you got 4 rookies out there, 2 rookies starting in the secondary. So we'll see what happens, man. Like I said, there's so much youth and then also a lot of experience as well with AJ Terrell, Jesse Bates, Leonard Floyd, David Onyemata. So it's a good mix of both. It just depends how will these rookies pan out. And then special teams, we still have Younghoe Koo, Brandon Pinion, good kicker, good punter. Younghoe Koo kind of had an off season last year compared to how he usually does, so hopefully he fixes that. And then we brought in Jamal Agnew, which I actually love. Jamal Agnew is one of the best punt returners, kick returners in the game. As an Atlanta Falcons fan, I couldn't tell you the last time we got a punt return or a kick return. I think we got a kick return last year. If we didn't get it last year, we got it 2 years ago. But I couldn't tell you the last time we got a punt return. And Jamal Agnew is just really good. Even if we don't get touchdowns, he's definitely got the speed to get us a couple of extra bonus yards, which the Atlanta Falcons have not really had. So, I mean, just to recap on the roster, our offense on paper got worse. Our defense on paper hypothetically got better because at least we did bring in Leonard Floyd, but we have all these rookies, so we'll see how they do. I have high hopes for them, but we can't guarantee a rookie's going to be good. You can't say, oh my god, Xavier Watts is 100% an upgrade over Justin Simmons. Oh, Billy Bowman Jr. is 100% an upgrade over whoever the hell we had at nickel corner or at the nickel corner position last year. You can't guarantee that because they've never played before. That's the same exact thing with Michael Penix Jr. You'd want to say, oh, Michael Penix Jr. is 100% going to do better than Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins last year put up 510 passing yards and like 5 passing touchdowns against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and literally set the Atlanta Falcons record for most passing yards in a single game. Yeah, Kirk Cousins looked like shit in a lot of games too, but he also won us a couple of games as well. So who's to say that Michael Penix Jr. is going to be better than Kirk Cousins? I want to believe so. I think he will be. Don't get me wrong. I think Michael Penix Jr. will do better than Kirk Cousins. But it's not a guarantee, and we can't act like it is. Now that we've gone over the roster, it's time to go over the schedule here. And the Atlanta Falcons are a team that on paper, like I said, this is all on paper, but on paper have a really, really difficult start of the schedule. But then they actually have a pretty chill end of the schedule, which I don't really like. It depends on who you ask, right? Like I said, we have all these young players. Like I said, Michael Penix Jr. is finally starting for us for the whole year. We have all these rookies on defense. We have new starting offensive linemen. We have so many question marks, and they're getting thrown right into the fire immediately. Now, if you asked me, if it was me, I would prefer to have the easier start of the schedule, ease the guys into what it's like to play in NFL games. Michael Penix Jr. gets some confidence, gets some wins under his belt. Our defensive players, they go up against worse offenses, so they get some confidence. They feel better about it. But how we're doing it, man, they're getting thrown right into the fire immediately. It's going to be really telling almost right away. Like I said, the end of the schedule is easier, but if these guys already lose their confidence because of how much they suck, then who knows, right? Like, who knows? We have a week 5 bye, which absolutely sucks. I hate the week 5 bye because then that means that we literally have to play 12 or 13 games straight. We got to bye week 5 and then 13 games straight, man. Well, let's get into this. Week 1, home against Tampa Bay. We only have 8 home games this year. And we're going into Tampa Bay immediately, which could be tough. Tampa Bay, a playoff team last year. We beat them both times. Don't get me wrong, we beat them both times. But it's going to be a tough game. And historically, the Atlanta Falcons have sucked in week 1. The Atlanta Falcons are not a good week 1 team. I was able to find this. But as you can see, in the last 10 years, the Atlanta Falcons have a 3-7 record in week 1. And if you actually go back the last 7 years, in the last 7 years, the Atlanta Falcons are 1-6. We lost our week 1 game in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2024. We have been awful in week 1 in the last couple of years. It has not been good. So yeah, as I just showed there, 1-6 in week 1 in the last 7 years. 3-7 in the last 10. It has not been good for the Atlanta Falcons. We got to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who It's just going to be a tough game, man. That game could go either way. Then at Minnesota, that's also going to be a tough game because the Vikings were really good last year. They lost Sam Darnold, but now they have J.J. McCarthy, and who knows how good J.J. McCarthy is going to be. Same exact thing with us. Who knows how good Michael Penix Jr. is going to be. At Carolina, I'm not worried about that. But then home against Washington, one of the best teams in the NFL, we could be screwed. Then we get our bye, and then we go play Buffalo, and then we go play the 49ers. So in our first 6 games, we're playing 4 playoff teams for last year, and the 49ers, so even though they weren't a playoff team, they're still a playoff caliber type team. It's just they suffered a ton of injuries last season. And it's at San Francisco too. So these first 6 games are tough. We could very easily start off the season 2-4. You know, like I said, we get our bye week, and that I guess helps us against Buffalo. But then we play Buffalo Monday night, and then we have to go play San Francisco with 1 extra day off. 1 less day. Then something else to note about our schedule too is we have to go play Indianapolis Colts in Germany. Now, the good thing about it is I don't know why this says versus Indy. It's at Indy. Indy is technically the home team in this game. So actually, we have 8 home games, 8 away games, and then 1 game on a neutral site. The bad thing is, though, we don't get a bye after this. Typically, when teams have an overseas game, they then get a bye the following week. We don't. We have to go to Germany and then fly all the way back. And I've seen things about how if you lose an overseas game, the flight back absolutely sucks because, you know, it's a 10, 15-hour flight after you just lost. You know, and then we have to go play the Panthers, who, like I said, I'm not worried about, but we have split with the Panthers the last 2 years, so who knows. Like I said, these first 4 games are rough, but then our first 6 games are rough, but then after at San Francisco, I think it actually really mellows out. Home against the Dolphins, I think the Dolphins are going to suck this year. At the Patriots could be tough. But then all of this here is pretty damn easy. The Colts not worried about. Panthers not worried about. Saints not worried about. It's New York not worried about. I guess then Seattle, Tampa, Arizona, and Los Angeles could be scary. But then Saints not worried about. So it's like a tough start to the year. Really mellows out. Very easy midsection of the year. And then a pretty tough ending to the year. Like, again, Arizona, I'm not too worried about. Seattle, I'm not too worried about. We'll probably split with them. At Tampa could be tough too, man. Like I said, there's just so many factors that go into this. So if I had to predict right now, you know, I would just spitballing here. I would say we go 2-4 to start the season. You can pick any 2 of the... We're losing against Washington and Buffalo. Let's just get that straight. We're losing to Washington and Buffalo. And then I guess these other 4 games, maybe we could go 3-1. But what I'm saying is we're going to lose to Washington, lose to Buffalo, and then go 2-2 in these remaining 4 games. You can pick which ones we lose and which ones we don't. So we're 2-4. Best case scenario, we're 3-3. I do not see a world where we're better than 3-3. I'm sorry, I don't. We're not beating Washington. We're not beating Buffalo. And we're not going to go 4-0 in these games. We're just simply not. So 2-4 or 3-3. Then Miami, that's a win. I'm incredibly confident about that. You know what? I'll give us the loss at New England just because, you know, we suck against New England. They got Mike Vrabel this year. I think the Patriots got a good team. So now, we're 2-4. We're 3-5. This is, like I said, we get the easy part of the schedule. We could very easily go 4-0 here. We could very easily go 4-0 here. Colts, Panthers, Saints, Jets. So say we're 3-5, we're now 7-5. And then, like I said, we're going to split against the Seahawks and the Cardinals. So we're now 8-6. I think we're going to beat New Orleans 9-6. 9-6. And then, you know, at Tampa, home against Los Angeles. Say we go 1-1. We're 10-7. You know, like I said, we start off the season 2-4, but then finish the season 8-3. Is that actually going to be accurate? Are we going to finish the season 8-3? Lose to New England. Lose to the Rams. I mean, that's actually very possible. Like I'm saying, it's very possible we start off 2-4, but then finish the season 8-3. Now, like I said, a lot of factors go into this. Maybe we're 2-4 after the San Francisco game, and team morale is low. You know? Who knows how Michael Penix Jr. is going to do and if he's going to be able to develop throughout the entire season. Who knows how our defense is going to do. Injuries are a big thing here as well. Like I said, we suck ass in the preseason because we don't start anyone. We could very easily come out slow here against Tampa Bay. Also, I'm saying, well, on paper, we should be able to beat the Colts, Panthers, New Orleans, and New York. When has the Falcons ever gone on a win streak in the last 8 years? The last time we went on a win streak is the year we made it to the Super Bowl. There are so many games every single year that I look at as an Atlanta Falcons fan on our schedule and say that game is an easy win, and then we lose the fucking game. For example, let's literally go back to last year. How the fuck did we lose to the Panthers, one of the worst teams in football, in the last week? Like I said, this is all me just looking at the schedule, right? Looking at the schedule, how did we lose to the Saints? I'm pretty sure the New Orleans Saints had just lost, 6 straight games? They lost weeks 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They lost 6 straight games, and we lost to the Saints. Before the season started, I didn't think the Vikings were going to have a good team. And the Vikings were one of the best teams in football, and we lost to them. I didn't think Washington was going to have a good team, and we lost to them. That just goes to show that you can expect to win games before the season starts, but then the team is much better than they are. The Commanders and the Vikings were much better than people projected them to be. How the hell did we lose this game to the Saints last year as well? And this also goes to scare me as well, because the Atlanta Falcons last year were 6-3, and then we just sucked ass at the end of the season, man. Just absolutely blowed. Absolutely blowed. And I know that Kirk Cousins was to blame for a lot of this as well, especially this Chargers game. This Chargers game was 100% on Kirk Cousins. But Younghoe Koo couldn't make a kick against New Orleans, and then we got boat raced against Denver and against the Vikings. If I had to predict for the Atlanta Falcons, I would say worst case scenario, we're 7-10. Best case scenario, we're 12-5. I know that's a wide range, right? But I just gave you our worst case scenario and our best case scenario. There are just, like I said, 7 wins because we just have enough talent. Like, Bijan is just good enough. Like, there are some games here, right, where we should beat the Saints both times. Like, the Saints suck. We should split with the Panthers. That's 3 wins there. I really think the Dolphins are going to have a bad team this year. I think that's 4 wins there. The Jets are going to suck too. That's 5 wins there. Right? That's already 5 wins. Do you really think the Colts are going to be... the Colts should be an easy win too. And then we could probably scrape out... So maybe I should actually say 6-11. 6-11 is our worst. 12-5 is our best. Did I say 12-5? Maybe. Because who are for sure losses? For sure losing to Washington. For sure losing to Buffalo. That actually might be it. I think every other team, actually, like I said, we have an easy schedule. Every other team, I think we actually could win. Washington and Buffalo are the 2 games where I'm like, all right, we've lost. But every other team, I think we have a fighting chance with. So that's what I'm saying. 12-5 is our best. 6-11 is our worst. A 6-game spread because we have so much variance on this Atlanta Falcons team. That's why I guess when people are very optimistic about the team and think we're going to do good, they're banking on all of our young players doing good because we have so many young players. Newsflash: the odds are the players are actually going to do worse than good. Statistically, I'm pretty sure it's like, more than 50% of first round picks are busts, or just average players. There's a much better chance that our rookies are average or busts than good players. That's just the unfortunate truth. We have a better chance of all these young players not working well. Then a lot of it comes down to coaching staff as well, which I do not believe in Raheem Morris. I really, really disliked that we signed Raheem Morris. He has now been a head coach for 5 years now and has a winning record in 1 of those years. You can blame team talent all you want. Stats don't lie. 1 winning season in 5 years as a head coach. We brought back our old defensive coordinator for the Jets as well, and the Jets looked like horse poop last year. So we'll really see what happens here, man. We'll see. Like I said, this season could go 6-11 or 12-5 is a big variance there. Absolutely big variance. Like I said, we benefit from having a very weak schedule here a couple of weeks. Like I said, Miami, New England, Colts, Panthers. Saints, Jets in a 6-week span, man. Like, at New England is the only difficult game there. So we'll see what happens, right? I want the Falcons to do good. I would love for the Falcons to go 12-5. Like I said, being realistic, I would say we're somewhere in the middle. We're 9-8, 10-7 team. 10-7 probably gets us into the playoffs, right? I guess it really depends how well we do in our division. I don't expect the Saints to do good. I don't expect the Panthers to do good. So these 2 games against Tampa Bay are really going to be telling, and it just sucks that we suck so much cock in week 1 that I don't see us winning this game. Like I said, we could easily lose to Tampa, lose to Minnesota, beat the Panthers, but then lose to Washington and lose to Buffalo and be 1-4. Shit, we can then lose to the 49ers and be 1-5. You know? So we'll just have to see what happens, man. But I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy this football season. I hope you guys do too. Let me know how you think the Atlanta Falcons are going to do in the comments down below, and peace out.